Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. We begin tonight with new information about the two men who were killed during yesterday's windstorm when a tree fell on their box truck. Elisha Bryan and Eric Saint were both killed. In an interview you'll only see on KREM 2 tonight, Christian Garza spoke with those closest to Bryan's family. Christian?
Tonight, the families of the victims are still processing this unexpected loss. Today, I was only able to find a GoFundMe account for one of the victims, Elisha Bryan. Now, that's how I was able to connect with a close family friend who says Bryan was a soft-spoken man, but when it came to talking about his children, he was the loudest in the room.
As the day went on, it just started to hit, and even now it's hitting hard, so.
An early morning crash kills two men while on the clock. Elisha Bryan and Eric Saint worked for a waste disposal company called Stericycle when a tree fell on the truck they were driving, causing them to drive off the road. Both lanes of US Highway 2 were blocked for several hours. The Spokane County Medical Examiner says Bryan and Saint died from blunt force trauma. After confirming their identities, I was able to find out that Bryan was engaged and is a father to 4 children, the youngest being a 1-year-old boy. Bryan's fiancée didn't feel comfortable speaking with us, but I spoke with a close family friend with permission from Bryan's family.
I just couldn't believe it. I had no words.
Carl Einey describes the type of man Bryan was and the legacy he leaves behind.
He was a kind person. Even though he was quiet and he was always in the corner of the room, you can always feel his presence. He was a very loving father. The love for his children, man, it was fierce.
A GoFundMe set up by Bryan's former co-workers asks the community to support his family the way he supported others.
It just shows that everyone loved him. Everyone's thinking about him. Everyone's thinking about Jimena and the kids.
In addition to the GoFundMe, the Spokane Police Foundation is also taking donations to help both families impacted by the crash. Now, we are still working to connect with Saint's family, but in the meantime, the foundation says Spokane PD investigation asked it to assist with the family's rent. We will have those links to make donations on KREM.com. In the newsroom, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. New tonight, a Colville man is now facing charges for nearly 30-year-old cold case double murder.
That case was solved, police say, thanks to new DNA evidence. 73-year-old Charles Lloyd Tatum was arrested for the murders of 29-year-old Marlene Emerson and her 12-year-old daughter, Cassie Emerson, back in 1997. It's alleged that he killed Marlene Emerson at home, then set the house on fire. Her daughter's body was found about a month later in a wooded area. The case went unsolved for the next 27 years. The Stevens County prosecuting attorney and the Eastern Washington District Attorney both say the arrest was made after DNA testing was completed by investigators this summer. Tatum is expected to make his first court appearance tomorrow. Tonight, an update on a prosecution KREM 2 investigators first told you about in 2022.
An 80-year-old Washington woman has pleaded guilty to selling truckloads of rotten grape juice that was contaminated with rodent feces and decaying animals. These new photos show the barrels the juice were stored in. Prosecutors say 80-year-old Marianne Bleisner and her now closed company Valley Processing Inc. sold the contaminated products between 2012 and 2019 and knowingly put the public in danger, including children across the country receiving free and reduced school lunches. In 2022, I sat down with the U.S. Attorney for Eastern Washington, Vanessa Waldriff, to ask about why it was important to go after this case.
We do that to make sure that the food we're eating is safe and that the children that are getting free and reduced cost lunches are having access to that healthy, nutritious, safe foods.
Bleisner pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanors and agreed to pay a criminal forfeiture amount of more than $700,000 in fines. She will not spend any time in jail.
A Medical Lake woman is dead after a Wrongway crash on I-90 overnight. According to the Washington State Patrol, 81-year-old Carol Johnson was driving the wrong way in the eastbound lanes when she crashed into another car. The crash happened around 10:30 last night near Four Lakes. Troopers say Johnson was not impaired. The road was partially blocked for about 2 hours before it reopened. The driver and the passenger of the other car are both in the hospital.
The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife has confirmed 4 new cases of chronic wasting disease. All of the new cases were found in eastern Washington. Chronic wasting disease is fatal to deer, elk, and moose. All of the new cases were found in male white-tailed deer. 3 of those deer were found in Spokane County in the same area where 2 other positive cases were found earlier this year. The other new case came from a deer near Davis Lake in Pend Oreille County. Wildlife officials said there are still several samples awaiting testing, so there is the potential for additional positive cases.
All right, turning our attention to weather now. Tonight could bring another round of rain to many places across the inland Northwest.
Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout joining us now, tracking where and when that rain could start. Jeremy?
I think it's going to hit basically eastern Washington, North Idaho, I-90 corridor in north, and I don't think it amounts to much. I think we're going to measure trace amounts, if that. It'll be a T in the official record books. 39 degrees is where we currently sit, still well above that seasonal norm, even after the sun has gone down, even an hour after the sun has gone down. Temperatures on the mild side. Everybody's still above freezing this evening, but we are going to drop, even with that little stray moisture moving in. There it is, making its way out of the Cascades. Look at how it's just falling apart. Most of that moisture is on the west side and in high elevations. That means we are going to watch most of that moisture get eaten by the Cascades. So for us, I think it's a couple of raindrops. It's enough that if you got a car wash today, you'll notice it tomorrow when you walk outside and see your car. If you didn't, you're probably going to go, all right, whatever. Somebody said there was rain last night. It's not really rain, maybe a little bit of a drizzle. Then tomorrow winds up looking almost identical to today. Seriously, like identical to today. Not until we get into the day on Saturday do we see a more widespread and pronounced chance of rain in the forecast. Then it looks like that's in the afternoon. And even with it, we still climb into the 40s. Next few days, sitting about 10 degrees above the seasonal norm for late December.